What's good with it in the hood with it? Welcome back to the collective clips where you already know we get it in a real way, right? We about to get it in a menudo style in direct fashion. You guys see the thumbnail, so you know what I'm talking about, man. I'm talking about Native Americans here. Native American gang members. Oh yes, yes indeedy. They write graffiti all over the bus. Native Americans ain't playing, man. But before we get into the spill, let's hit that like and subscribe button. Put the notification bell on also. That way you're directed in the dope content that I'm bringing each and every day, man. And I appreciate all the support that I'm getting, especially right here on the collective clips. Indubitably, man. Thank you so much. Now, let's get into it, right? Native American gang members. Oh, yeah. Oh, yes, there will be blood. Oh, they ain't fucking around, right? A lot of people sleep on the natives. They sleep on the natives because they think that they're just into their traditions and they're into their being family orientated and not really into the streets. But quietly as it's kept, them reses get down, man. A res is a terrible place to be at if you're not invited, welcomed, or part of that fucking culture, right? Because I'm going to tell you right now, it gets busy on the res. They got actual res dog gangs that really be putting it down. Now, having done a lot of time all over the place, I did a lot of time with Native Americans, man. And I can say that every Mexicano, every Chicano has indigenous blood running through their veins. We have some type of Native American. We were here first, Dave. We were here with the natives, programming, doing our thing. White guys came, muskets, turkeys. You guys know what it is, man. Thanksgiving. Now, when it comes to the natives, having done time with them, I'll tell you right now, straight up, these are some of the most vicious and violent characters I've ever ran into, but also some of the most stoic individuals. And what does the word stoic means? That means you can't see, they got a poker face, eh? You don't know what's going through their mind. They think a lot about what they're going to do before they do it, but definitely they get busy and they're with the program. Now, there's a gang out there in Canada, right? We have a lot of gangs in North America, but in Canada, there's a gang called the Indian Posse, which was founded in 1988 by two brothers, Danny and Richard Wolf. And let me tell you about these individuals, man. They felt that if for no other reason, they should establish something for their gente, their people. No matter how you cut it, dice it, slip it, flip it, and reverse it, you're never going to get away from gangs. There's going to be gangs in the end, just like there was gangs in the beginning. The cavemen were banging on each other. I'll have the mango salsa with the duck fucking feet, right? They weren't playing. There's always been some type of tribalism. There's always been some type of gangs established. It's just the way it is, whether you consider yourself a club, a group, a gang, an organization, whatever it is, there's a coming together of common minds to progress in each and every way they want to. Now, when it comes to gangs, society ridicules gangs and looks at gangs as the scourge of the earth. They look at gangs like gangs are the nation's downfall, but quietly as against the government. But I'm just going to say, gangs really are focused on self-preservation and the protection of their minority, of their own people. Now, over time, you get a couple bad apples, they spoil the whole goddamn bunch, and then what do you have, man? Applesauce, right? You have a bunch of mushy ass shit. Because what happens is the game gets muddled and mushed up. The game and all this establishment, all these rules and regulations that you set on your hood and your volume and your gang gets muddied because of one individual's way of thinking. Now, these two brothers, Danny and Richard Wolf, they reigned with an iron fist, and they were able, in a gang that they started in their mother's basement, to accumulate numbers. Okay, now I don't know how Canada rocks. I can tell you how Merced, Central Valley rocks, right? But I can't tell you how Canada rocks. But one thing I've heard for sure is there's a lot of Aboriginal and a lot of Native American gangs or native gangs out there that are definitely pushing forward, doing their thing. There's a lot of different, associations depending on what part of the area you're from. Now, the Indian Posse is considered the largest of them, started by these two brothers. But these two brothers, one of them had a murky history. The other one was a little bit of a savage, a beast, right? So both of these brothers had an extensive career in and out of prison. Okay. Now I can only understand, California prisons, Western state prisons. That's where I've been to, but I'm sure they rock just like anywhere else. In any prison, you're going to have death. You're going to have knife fights. You're going to have organizations and groups and gangs trying to run the yards. That's just the way it is. Doesn't matter where you go, man. There's always going to be people you have to answer to, and you always have to stay accounted for yourself. Now, these two brothers had a lot of notoriety and a lot of pull, a lot of juice. When you start a gang and you're considered the hierarchy or the leadership, you're always going to have that respect, man. You're always going to garner that because people know who the founding fathers are. You know, whether you fuck up along the way and your name gets muddied in the water, man, and then, of course, people will reanalyze it, take a second look, and be like, guard, he ain't the fucking one. That happens. Or other people come in and take the reins, and they take over the gang. But more than likely, those founders or the people who started the group are always going to be, you know, acknowledged. They're always going to acknowledge me. They're always going to be respected. So these two brothers are very well, or were very well respected. They're no longer here. And this is what happens. One of the brothers gets locked up and gets involved in a melee or a riot. Something to do with prison, man. Over, you know, someone spilled a fucking bowl of milk and there you go, right? Anything could pop it off. I mean, he loses his life. And when he loses his life, his brother, at the same time, having done time, man, is feeling the pressure. So he starts to apply the pressure on the streets. He starts to gain more recruits. He starts to get bigger and bigger and bigger. And he's going all out because his brother just passed away. His brother was killed while behind them walls, you know? And it happens, man. I remember I used to think about my brother. My brother just got done doing 24, 25 years. And every day I would wake up wanting to replace, you know, the fear that I had for him doing what he was doing with me wanting to be there. You know, nothing could explain having a family member behind the walls that you're so close to, whether it be a brother, a sister, a cousin, a father, a mother. You know, most of the motherfuckers that are about the business would like to change places with them and hope and wish that they can get by. But you have to have confidence in their ability to be just like you. You have to have confidence in their ability to carry their own, be a man or a woman. You know, my brother was able to maintain, do his time, stand on his own 10, and respectfully get out, get a job, get a vehicle, man, doing great, wonderful. I'm very proud of him. I'm proud of the man he's become. Not proud because he did time and because he was a convict and because of those things, but I'm more so proud on the way he reacted to doing all that time and getting out. That's not very easy. When you do 20 plus years, you've sat down for that long, time moves past you. It's how you bounce back. It's how you bubble back. The bubbleization must be real. It's how you retaliate towards the streets. He got out with the real retaliation effort. He got out and the first thing he did was went back to school, got his CDLs, got his driver's license, got him a nice little vehicle, got him a bitch. And the winner is, right? Shit, he's doing better than I am. You know what I mean? Sometimes. Let's just say this. So I could only understand these two brothers, these Native Americans' plights, you know, having one brother incarcerated and losing his life behind the walls. But quietly as it's kept, here's the skeleton that was in one of the wolf's closets, right? You know, having been a founder of a gang, like I said, you're respected, you're loved, you're revered to as that one. But this guy actually had a sexual case, you know, and I don't know how they move and groove over there. I don't know how the weird cases, how the pressure is applied to weird cases. I know in the United States, man, they apply pressure, right? Pressure is applied. But this guy, actually, one of the founders, did have a sexual case. He was incarcerated for that, got out, and went back to prison, okay? He has just recently been murdered on the yard. Reason being, I don't know. Maybe he found himself in a bad situation. Maybe he caught up to the guys who got his brother, or maybe his old past and his criminal record caught up to him. One thing I know for sure is there's always new blood. What's up, blood? There's always young blood that comes up that wants to be established and wants to take your place. Hey, ask fucking Big Paul Castellano about that. And John Gotti would oh, you can't. He's not here either. Vatos will always try to take your place, just what it is, man. No matter what work you've put in, no matter how much of a gangster you were and how real you were, there's always going to be the next one up and coming that is going to try to erase your whatever you did from the memory of others. Ain't that a funny thing? For people that are supposed to be your homeboys, your righteous camaradas, your dudes, your A1s from day ones, they're constantly trying to erase the historia of that you put, you know, the work that you put in. So let's get fucked 1988. But this is 2024. We wiggle, ain't? You know what I mean? Vatos are trying to wiggle. It's just the way it is. Anyways, this other wolf brother was killed while in prison. Okay? That's to be expected. Two founders of one of the biggest gangs in Canada, the Indian Posse, and they're murdered. You know, whatever the reasoning behind the situations and what led up to their demise and their killings, both of them, you know, succumbed behind those walls. When you start a gang, you need to understand, or when you involve yourself in a gang, you need to understand one thing, and one thing is for sure. You're going to die a gang member. I don't care if you drop out, back up, do whatever you do in the eyes of society and in the eyes of all the homies, no matter what, you're still always a gang member, homie. You can't erase the tattoo. You can get them covered up and laser it off. You're still a gang member, homie. You're still part of that life. Whether you try to fall back and change your life, you're always still going to have that instilled in you. You're educated. It's indoctrinated. It is the way it is. It is with me. It's going to be like that with you. But the Native Americans, having been slept on for so many years, anyone who's done time with natives, you understand the situation. You understand what they're capable of and what their abilities are. One thing I always liked about the natives was they had money, eh? They had bread, right? Like Jesus said, break it. I don't fake it. I just make it, eh? They had money. Not every tribe, every res gets, reparations. Not every group gets this money every month. But a lot of the homies that I ran into, natives, did have money. They were very well blessed, and thank God they were, because I had soul Posse. I'm going to tell you one thing about Native Americans. A lot of the Native Americans that I've ran into were from Norteño gangs. I had a lot of homeboys that were Native Americans from Norteño gangs. One of the first homeboys, I'll never forget him, that stood tall through it all, man, that actually helped establish with me, was the homeboy Indio from Madera, right? And I remember when everybody else backed up like crawdads and fell off, man, and I was lonely, homie. I was the only Norteño still functioning, really about that action on that particular compa. I'm not going to say within the institution. There was other homeboys wiggling. But on that compa for a period of days, man, and I was wondering if I was going to get stretched out, if it was finally my demise, if it was my time. And I was young. I was a young, scared kid. But I was willing to I had cora. So I was willing to do what I had to do for my people and my gente and myself so I could live. This Vato stood through it all with me, man, standing tall. I remember hi-ho fucking silver. I was happy that Tonto Rodriguez got down with the program. He didn't have to. Could have claimed native. Could have went native like most natives do. I don't knock people for that. I notice like when you got others and you got natives, these two group factions in prison are allowed to do that. You could be a Native American gang member, Norteño, Sureño, or whatever, and you can get locked up, incarcerated, and say, you know what, I ain't none of that anymore, homie, as long as you're not taqueado. If you have an X3 on your face, you're on your own. But for the most part, a lot of these vatos will say, you know what, hey, I'm with my peoples. I'm going to stand with my gente. I'm going to stand, red power, puto. I'm going to stand with your brown power, I'm red power. And we know they're white power. And the black powers, they're over there. Look at Ice Cube, black power. That's just how it is, right? So that's what they're able to wiggle like that. The others, Usos, they're able to wiggle like that, They could be Crips or Bloods or even Norte thugs. And then they get locked up, man, and then they kick it with their gente. Raza, we're not allowed to do that. Try to claim paisa and see what happens to you. No, pues no, no. You know what I mean? Vivo de tres animales. And they're going to give you the perico, the gallo, and the chiva. They ain't playing. You can't just go in there and drop your arms, homie. That's one thing about Mexicans. We put ourselves in a caja for reals. Talk about doing whole time. We're always doing whole time, homie. We have our own hole, the Mexican hole, and that's called North and South. You're one or the other. I'm a resident. Okay, well, you're going to still function, do burpees, and back us up. For real? Yeah, you might as well get with the program. With the Norteños, there is no such thing as residency. You're not being a resident. You're a homie or you're a fucking, you don't know me. And that's it. Straight up. So with Native Americans, they've always been able to wiggle a little bit more, but they're with the business. Now, this Indian Posse group is from a different country. They are from Canada. And I thought it was just a different look at the way different gangs function in different places. For these two brothers to establish something that grew, you have to have leadership skills. You have to have an understanding of what's going on around you. And definitely you have to have people that are willing to follow. Something happened here in the United States. Something happened in the prison system. So in the early 2000s, dropping out became the thing to do. In the beginning, there was always dropouts. There was people that, fell off for whatever reason they fell off, no longer were a part of the gang. And it was what it was. They had designated yards, especially designated yard. Let me see, man. Let me make sure this is straight. Bam. Designated yards for people like this. And they were looked down upon, of course, spit at and things of that nature. Now, over time, more people seen this as a way to divert trouble away from themselves, whether it was because they were in bad standings. But anyways, in the year 2000, I'd say a little prior to that, dropping out became the thing to do within the California system. A lot of people started to do it. Some because they were scared. Some because they had mud on dirt on their name. Some just didn't want no more issues or problems. Some, were trying to turn a new leaf and do the right thing. And some were playing the system. Fuck it, homie. I'm going to do what I got to do in here to live. And I'm going to get out there and I'm going to function and act cool. Or I'm going to go on YouTube and proclaim I'm active, right? A lot of people do that weird shit. But in any case, you'll never be able to shake that label. You're not coming back from that. It is what it is, and respect it, grip it, grasp it, fucking turn it over and fuck it. Just understand and know, homie, at the end of the day, would you rather be a man of your own demise and a man of your own fucking pressure, or be the next man, still with the program, getting the pressure applied? I don't know. It's up to you. Now, for the actives, I respect that. For the non-actives, I don't respect when you try to fake it. You know what I mean? You ain't got to fake that, homie. Stop faking already. Faking is going to get you earthquaking, and that's it. Now, a lot of people started to fall off. And in the process of that, one guy displayed leadership. And I've had my fucking bone to pick with this guy. We've argued and then got along and then argued and then got along. And at the end of the day, man, I respect him as a person. I don't respect, exactly his ways of thinking and everything, but I respect him as a person, man. And that's Badass Snoop from the Northern Rider Gang. That vato was able to establish something that blew up. He took in a lot of numbers. Now, I know they like to proclaim themselves actives, and to each their own, man. If that's what they consider themselves, that's what they consider themselves. I'm not going to here to argue. I'm not going to fucking argue over something that doesn't matter to me at the end of the day. But I know one thing is for surely, though. This guy was able to recruit a lot of young gang members, was able to recruit a lot of people that felt like they fell off from a certain situation, then got with another, or just basically went with them because that's how they felt that the tide was turning. In any case, man, just like these two Native American brothers, the Wolf brothers, they were able to do the same thing, display leadership qualities enough to get a group or a gaggle or a gathering group together, man, to put in some work. Now, the Indian Posse is the biggest gang in Canada. They are the biggest group and organization and considered a security threat group behind the walls. And it was founded by two brothers. Like I said, one of the brothers, man, nasty situation, had a very ugly case. And I didn't understand how he still was respected and still was part of the gang, because I know that his people had to know, that he was involved in something. But without seeing paperwork and without putting too much on it, you don't know. People lie. People like to point fingers. The whole SPM situation. You don't know what's going on there. Maybe. And just things like that. But these Indians, these Native American brothers, they're real. They are real, man. They're as real as it gets. Anyone who's ever done time with natives will tell you, they're about the business, man. Don't get the shit twisted. Don't think just because they're native and they're doing their powwows and their sweats and all that, man, they won't fucking hit you with the sweat rock, because they will. And then you'll be slept rocking. That's it. That's facts. Anyways, with that being said, man, I kind of just wanted to touch on, the Native American gangs in and out of the system. I've ran into a lot of natives, and I have nothing but respect and love for all of them, because I have indigenous blood running through me. Yaqui Indian, stand up, what it is, right? But at the end of the day, I understand that, as people, period, humans, everyone can get it and everyone can get busy with it. And that's it. A lot of people sleep on the natives. The natives are the least talked about group organization within prison or out of prison. And just because they're part of gangs doesn't mean they're not good people. Just like anyone else, man, that's just the world we live in. Everyone's part of something, and they decide to do their own thing. I've been to reservation, man. I went to the Tule Res out there by Porterville, man, by Tulare. And I'm going to tell you, man, the wiggle was fucking real. Them motherfucking natives can drink, eh? Them motherfuckers was drunk as fuck. You guys want to hear a quick story? Tortas, I know I'm Mexican. I'm with the homegirl, right? She's like, hey, let's slide to the Tule Res, man. My prima's over there. So I'm like, hook me up with your prima. Can I hit? Right from the guy, I don't even ask what she looks like, if she got the fucking beard. I don't even ask nothing. Just like, can I hit? You know what I mean? If I was on maniaco status, it had been about 2-3 days since I fucked, right? So I'm like, what's happening? She's like, yeah, I got you. We slid through over there, and I'm going to tell you right now, Sabbath scam. This bitch she drunk me under the table, under the sofa. She could drink. So I was scared, but she didn't have a beard, and she was about 280, 290. I'm not going to lie. And I powwowed. Wow. You know what I mean? I got my on, and that was that. Facts, man. Natives, wiggle. Her brothers all came. They were Norteños. It was all love, man. We drank to the break of dawn, eh? And I got my motherfuckers on. She was like, yay. She was like, You already know what it is. With that being said, I hope that you move smooth with a purpose, get everything that you want coming. And remember, at the end of the day, it's all about the strive, the struggle, the struggle, the strive. Shout out and respects to my Native American partners, man. Nothing but love. Forever forward. You already know what it is. Thumbs up or thumbs down. Heavy's going to be the head that wears the crown. I'm going to continue to strive and struggle. Struggle and strive for what I truly believe in, man. And that's blessings to everyone in a real way. Bang, bang.